I remember the exact morning everything changed. I woke up and the apartment was silent. Not the comfortable silence of early morning, the other kind. The kind that has weight to it. The kind that tells you, before you even open your eyes, that no one else is there. And what surprised me wasn't the loneliness. What surprised me was the relief. But here's what nobody warned me about. That relief has an expiration date, and if you don't build something inside that silence, fast, it curdles into something much darker. I've watched men come alive in solitude, and I've watched men dissolve in it. The difference was never willpower. It was never motivation. It came down to one thing: whether they had a structure that was built for one, not a couple's routine with one person removed. Something entirely new. Something designed around the reality of a man who answers only to himself. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. But I need you to stay with me, because the part that most men get catastrophically wrong isn't the morning. It isn't the gym. It's something that happens at a very specific hour of the day, and by the time they realize it, weeks have already disappeared. The first thing you do when you live alone is you reclaim the morning. Not optimize it. Reclaim it. There's a difference. Optimization is for productivity influencers. Reclaiming is for men who have spent years waking up inside someone else's schedule, someone else's mood, someone else's noise. Your first 60 minutes are a clean slate, and whatever you write on that slate becomes the lens through which your entire day filters. Most men hand that window straight to their phone, which means they hand it to outrage, comparison, and other people's emergencies. And then they wonder why by noon they already feel behind. No screen for the first hour. That's not a rule. That's a boundary between you and a world that hasn't earned your attention yet. You move your body before you ask your mind to do anything. 30 minutes, walk, lift, run. It doesn't matter what. What matters is that you make a physical appointment with your own existence every single morning. Because here's what nobody talks about. When you live with someone, there's invisible movement built into the day. The shared chaos of a household keeps your body in motion without you noticing. When that disappears, a stillness sets in. And for a man, unchecked stillness isn't peace. It's the beginning of a slow drain. Move. Before the first decision. Before the first email. Before the day asks a single thing from you. That movement is a promise you make to yourself. And a man who keeps promises to himself becomes a man who trusts himself. And a man who trusts himself doesn't need anyone else to tell him he's on the right track. Now here is where it gets interesting. Because the morning routine everyone talks about, it's only half the equation. The part nobody discusses is what you do with your work. And this is where men living alone fall into a trap so subtle they don't even feel it closing around them. Without someone else's schedule creating natural stopping points in your day, work expands to fill everything. You tell yourself it's discipline. You tell yourself you're building. But what's actually happening is that work has become the wallpaper you put up so you don't have to sit in the quiet. And a man who can't sit in his own quiet is a man who is running from something. He just happens to be running toward his laptop instead of a bar. You protect the work window the way you protect anything valuable. You define when it starts, and you define when it ends. Deep work in the late morning, when your mind is sharpest. The hard stuff, the thing you've been avoiding, the task that actually changes your trajectory. You do that first, when the day still has integrity. Then, the administrative work in the early afternoon. Emails, messages, the operational maintenance of a life. The things that feel productive, but don't require your best self. Then, before you close the day's work, one forward-facing task, not urgent, not reactive. Something that is building toward the man you're becoming 6 months from now. Not the man managing today's fires. The man designing tomorrow's life. You close the work, physically close it, and you don't go back. Now I need to tell you about the hour that destroys men who live alone. Because it's not the morning. It's not late at night. It's midday. Specifically, the 30 minutes after the morning momentum has faded and the afternoon hasn't started yet. It's the gap. And in another life, there was something in that gap. A text, a shared lunch, a small interruption that reminded you another person existed in proximity to your own existence. Now that gap is just gap, and if you don't design something for it, the gap designs something for you. Usually 3 hours of low-grade distraction that leaves you feeling like you wasted the day before the day is even finished. Eat a real meal, at a table, not standing at the counter, not scrolling, sitting down, treating your own appetite as worthy of a proper moment. This is not a small thing. This is a daily act of self-respect that accumulates over weeks into a man who carries himself like he matters. Because he's been treating himself like he matters every single day in the smallest possible ways. Go outside for 10 minutes after. Not to exercise, just to exist outside. To remember the world is larger than the room you've been building your kingdom in. That pause is not lost time. That pause is the hinge that holds the day together. And now I need to tell you the thing I saved. The thing I said you'd need to stay for. Because everything I've described so far, the morning, the movement, the work structure, the midday reset, it's all scaffolding for what actually determines whether solitude builds you or breaks you. It's the evening. Specifically what you do with the silence when the work is done, and the day has no more obligations, and it's just you and four walls and hours that could go anywhere. This is where men split into two completely different trajectories, and the split isn't about what they accomplish. It's about one simple question. Does the evening have an anchor? Not a schedule, not a list. One anchor. One thing that the evening is for. A skill being built, a language, an instrument. Something that can be pointed to and said, this exists because I showed up for it. A physical project made with hands. A book read slowly with a pen nearby. A call with one man you actually trust. Not a social obligation. Actual brotherhood. The anchor doesn't need to be impressive. It needs to be real. Because what kills the solo evening isn't boredom. A bored man can find something interesting. What kills it is purposelessness. A purposeless man can't find anything worth doing, because somewhere, quietly, he's stopped believing that what he does matters. Give the evening a reason, even a small one, especially a small one. And then, before you sleep, a 2-minute reckoning. Not a journal entry, not a productivity review, just an honest, private conversation with the man who showed up today. What moved forward? What didn't? One thing done well. One thing that could have been better. Not self-punishment. Not false positivity. Just clarity. The kind that only exists when no one else is in the room and you can finally hear yourself think. Men who skip this lose their own thread. The days start to blur. Monday feels like Thursday. The weeks evaporate. And a man who can't trace his own progress starts to doubt whether he's making any. The man who closes the day with intention wakes up with direction, not because anything dramatic happened, because he reviewed the day and chose what tomorrow will be. That's it. That's the whole architecture. A morning that belongs to you, a body that gets moved before it's asked to perform, work that has boundaries, a midday that has dignity, an evening with an anchor, and a close that has honesty. Living alone is not a waiting room. It is not the space between relationships where you mark time until someone arrives to give your life its shape back. It is where you find out who you actually are when no one is watching, when no one is keeping score, when no one needs anything from you. And the man who builds a life inside that silence, carefully, deliberately, one morning at a time, discovers something that no relationship, however extraordinary, could ever hand him from the outside. He discovers that he was never empty. He was just untested. And the quiet, it turns out, was never the enemy. It was the only place honest enough to show him what he was actually made of.